Hi, just a bit of an update from Bev on the Gold Coast. To let you know that we've released our first ebook, A Work in Progress, Life, Love, Fun Living in Australia, Part 1, free on Google, Kindle, Kobo, Smashwords, iTunes. So if you go online, you can download that particular book for free. And we've done this so that you can get a bit of an idea about what we're about, the photos that Graham does, which are just amazing, and also you can just get an idea of how entertaining the stories are. So I'll just read you a little bit of a snapshot from one of our stories, eco-islanding, and it was when we went onto the Great Barrier Reef and one of our trips out there, and we had a bit of fun when we went out on the snorkel boat, so I'll read a bit of that to you. It just says it's fun time. Let's go snorkel. We nearly caused a riot on the snorkel boat. We brought our own gear, masks with snorkel, flippers, gloves, knives. We get into the drop zone over a reef and suit up. Lots of spinning into the mask. I don't know if you've ever been snorkeling, but you have to spin in the mask so you can actually see out of it. So we get into the drop zone and we start strapping on our knives. Graham has a big knife. It's a guy thing, and I have a medium knife. A lady says in a loud voice, we've got all these people sitting there, "What are they for?" I look up innocently, and lots of eyes are checking out my knife. I say, sorry, what do you mean? I'm trying to avoid answering a question. She says louder, sort of squeaky, "What's that for?" She points at my knife, and I say, "Oh, this, my knife. It gives me confidence," says I. And is she serious? Like, I'm thinking to myself, it's a big ocean out there, and yes, there are sharks. She says, "I'm sticking with you." And everyone jumps in the water practically on top of us and follows us around, which was kind of nice, having all those close friends. The boat staff ask casual-like on our return, "Did you see any sharks?" Nope, not this time. One of the things I like to do in our books is showcase Graham's photos because they're so brilliant. One of the photos in this particular ebook is a magnolia exmouth. It's absolutely gorgeous. And when Graham took this photo, we were walking along Tedder Avenue on the Gold Coast, which is kind of a place where there's some really good quality restaurants on the Gold Coast. People are eating there on the sidewalk and that kind of thing. And Graham, in typical fashion, he sees what I miss, what everybody else miss. He just sees the magic around him every day wherever he goes. And so we're walking along the sidewalk, had some breakfast or something, and he looks over and he says, "Oh, there's a great photo there." And I sort of look and I didn't really see it to start with. And it was this amazing, he just pulled it back and there was this amazing, beautiful magnolia exmouth. Different from a magnolia exmouth had these beautiful pink colours inside and in the stem and big, lush, beautiful blossom on it. And so I'm holding it on the side of the road and all these people are eating their breakfast going, "I wonder what those two are doing," and he's taking this photo. So I'd really recommend that you check out this particular story. And it's a quote. I just put on there a quote, "Leave your mark, our enduring worth," and this beautiful picture of this magnolia exmouth. And just in there, this is something that really resonated with me. And I'm just saying in there, the only thing of enduring worth we leave behind when we pass out of this life is the mark of value we deposit in the hearts and the minds of people. The watching children, and I don't know about you, but when I see children, they're always watching. They're watching to see not what you say so much as what you do. And just to be able to deposit something of good into them, whether they're your children or whether they're people around you, I think children are just like, they're so open to new things, and it's just great to be able to encourage them. So I'll just say again, the only thing of enduring worth we leave behind when we pass out of this life is the mark of value we deposit in the hearts and minds of people, the watching children, our colleagues and partners, both men and women, the people we work with, and the sons and daughters who are so courageous in their fight to assume the mantle of whom they wish to become and in the struggle to be heard. For every little heart that is healed, it is a gift to God. And I don't know about you, but when I see a lot of the generations that are coming through, I just see a lot of the struggle that they go through when they're going to school, trying to be heard by not just the people around them, but their peers. There's so much pressure on them to measure up. And I just think whenever we're around, whether it's young children or teenagers or, Gen, whichever Gen you want to talk about, they just always need to be encouraged and to be made to feel that their voice can be heard and that they're worth something, that they have value. So to me, this is a particular quote that I kind of just developed over time, just thinking about it, and then one day just sat down and wrote it, and it means something to me, and I hope it means something to you. But the picture is fabulous too. Another little snapshot story in there is one called My Wildest Dream, reaching for the sky and achieving goals. And really this is just to encourage people that anything is possible. You can start out at -0 and still go do things in life that you never even imagined would be possible. This story is just talking about, and these are all true. This is snapshots of my life with Graham. So there's nothing made up about this. It's all for real. So I just put in here, as a scruffy kid, and I was aged 15, with Timmy, my loyal dog, he's a little corgi, beside me. I looked up at a plane flying overhead and wondered who was in it and what they were thinking, and I dreamed my wildest dream. I said out loud, one day I will do that, all the time. And it won't mean anything to me. That's not in the story, but that was what happened. I thought, it won't mean anything. It'll be just like a daily thing that I will do. And I just knew somewhere in certainty, somewhere inside of me, that would happen. And then I forgot about it. It was just a passing moment. Went on to business college after high school. Mum pulled the strings to get me in because I never saw much point in school. I thought, why am I learning this? I said in high school English was great but was replaced with algebra, X, Y, Z, and I was lost. With no overseas travel plans, languages, like why am I learning French, why am I learning German if I'm not going to go over and eat croissants? Why would I want to know right now? So it was, all of that was a bit confusing. I love the wildlife pictures in biology and paintings in art. And if maths had actually explained something useful, like teaching me how to do a budget, like how about that for an idea, I'd have seen the light. I had no idea what to do after school. That's common in so many of us. So college was a last hope. Thankfully, I enjoyed it. Initial hurdles, learning shorthand, which I couldn't seem to follow. Talked to my teacher, and she encouraged me and said it's a language that had become clear. And it was amazing. The next day, things just became clear to me. And the persistence in learning that, those skills that I learned have been foundational for the rest of my life, really. So just from there, I went on and worked for a senior partner in a legal firm, learned discipline. He wasn't a very nice person, but I did learn a lot, I have to say. Everyone was having the Christmas party at the end of the year, and there I was working away doing the last minute urgent work, missing out. So I've got in there sob. Everyone was in the boardroom party and sob. I was doing that. So I put in there he was a tyrant, and it felt good when he went through 6 staff in the month after I left. That was really funny too. I took the positive with me and put him behind me. At 22, an interview came up working for a federal minister in the Australian Parliament based in Adelaide, South Australia, flying to Canberra where the Parliament was in session every week. Had good references and skills, and they needed shorthand. So guess what? That skill that I fought for was the very thing that opened the door for me to be able to even get in the door to be able to have the interview. So it's just sort of kind of talking about that. After the first interview, I was excited. Just talk a bit about how the lady who was actually from the agency, and she was supporting me and encouraging me and saying, yeah, I think you'd be perfect for this, Bev. Because I had a high level of skill at an early age, but I didn't look very old, so it was kind of like a bit of a step of faith for people to look at me and go, is she really that age, 22? She sort of looks more like she's 16, which was a bit of a disadvantage there, so I had to sort of overcome a few things like that. So anyway, so what happened was I actually got the job, but the lady from the agency, she rang up and she had a bit of a game with me. She says, oh, I'm so sorry, Bev. Oh, you didn't get the job. And I go, oh, well, that's okay. Thank you for trying. And then she laughed her head off and she said, well, yes, Bev, actually you did get the job. And I'm going, yay. And she's going, yay with me on the other end of the phone. So that was actually wonderful to have people that supported me. There's so many people that have supported me in that way. So I packed for my first trip. We'd fly to Canberra on Sunday nights, fly back on Friday nights, and I'd spend the weekends at home. I didn't have a boyfriend or anything like that. I was just you know, at that age I was just going out, having a good time, that kind of thing. So we were collected by Commonwealth cars and driven to and from airports and the Parliament House. That was cool. Sitting in a car being driven around by a chauffeur, basically. We didn't treat them like chauffeurs so much as they were our buddies. They looked after us and drove us to and from work. So that was kind of really cool. We worked from 8:30 till about 6 o'clock in Canberra, and then the Parliament would rise and take a break, and then we'd whiz out for dinner with a whole bunch of people, and then we'd go back and work till around 11 o'clock at night. And it was a lifestyle, and I really loved it. The federal minister I worked for had a portfolio of admin services, federal police, and he was a minister assisting the Minister for Defence. So you can imagine there were some really interesting things that came across our desk, and of course I can't talk about them because my lips are sealed. So, but it was very, very interesting at, you know, sort of around age 22 to see the inside workings of Parliament, to actually see how the big decision makers of this world worked, and how the departments that backed them, you know, assisted them and supported them. So it was really interesting to have that. And there was a really great time. We had an airline strike, and well, there actually were quite a lot of strikes back then, and so the airlines were on strike. They had legislation and voting commitments in Parliament House in Canberra. We were in Adelaide, and so we had to get there. So what happened was they actually flew in the Prime Minister's BAC 111 jet. They flew it into Adelaide and then flew us directly into the Duntroon Military Air Force Base in Canberra. And there's a whole lot of a bit of a story behind that too, as to how I ended up getting on the plane. And the guy that was driving me, he's going like, "Who are you? Are you famous?" And I'm going, "No, not at all." So anyway, the guys, they said to me, would I like to go into the cockpit when we were landing? Oh, into the cockpit when we were flying to Duntroon. So what happened was I was actually sitting between the two pilots, and I didn't know, it was such a quick flight, and I didn't know we were going to land. And I said, "Oh, I should go back." And they said, no, that's okay, you can stay here. And what happened was, as we're coming down really fast in this big jet and landing in Duntroon, I nearly fell on the dashboard. I don't know that it's called a dashboard, but I nearly fell on the dashboard. And we landed so quickly. So we trotted down the stairs. That was great fun. Trotting down the stairs with our briefcases like we're superstars. And the minister gets the salute because he's the minister assisting the Minister for Defence from the Air Force guys at the bottom. And that was just amazing. What fun. So we jumped into our cars and roared off to the hotels. And in researching, actually writing this story, I actually discovered that the RAAF 34 Squadron, who flew the BAC 111 that night, also flew my father, who was an electronics engineer and worked for Weapons Research Establishment in Adelaide. He used to go out with those BAC 111s and the same squadron out to the Woomera Rocket Range back in my early childhood days. So isn't it funny what you find out when you're doing a bit of research? So I remember I didn't think much about all this, and then one day on a flight home, the memory of my wildest dream came back to me, and I realised I was living it. Somehow it snuck up, and it was me flying overhead with somebody maybe looking up thinking, one day I will do that. So I guess what the message is, there's a bit more into that story, but I just want to just encourage people that when you believe for those wildest dreams, they might not happen immediately, but just stick in there, develop your skills, learn things, be open to opportunities, be willing to take that bit of a leap of faith, and you just never know what would happen. So I just want to leave you on that. And if I can do that, what can you do, hey? Yeah, so I just encourage you to go online and just download our book either in iTunes, Google Play, Kindle, Kobo, Smashwords. There's also Barnes & Nobles. There's a whole range of other places that you can download it. If you need any help with that, our website address is aworkinprogress.com.au, and you'll find that there are links there on the post that I've done on the front page. So you can download that for free. Really enjoy it. Love to get your feedback, and take care. Talk to you soon.